Hi, y'all, and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome and glad you found us. I am JoJo, and it is great to meet you. We are about to talk about another true crime case and hopefully see justice be done. But before we do, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, click subscribe and turn your bell notifications to all so you can make sure to be notified when I post new videos. Thank you, everyone, for all your support. It means the world to me. Now sit back, kick off your shoes, grab your tissues and stress balls, and let's dive in. The content you are about to watch contains the subject matter of a real-life true crime event. Therefore, it is not suitable for all ages and is only intended for adults. Hi, y'all. Welcome back and welcome aboard if you're new here. I do apologize to those of you that would like to chat on this video but are not already a subscriber. I ended up finding out after my last premiere video, being it was my first one, for some reason YouTube will not let me change the settings on my chats. I don't know if it's because I'm still new or because my subscriber numbers are still low, but for some reason when I go into my settings, it will not let me change the settings from it being that you have to be a subscriber, and I only have the choice between 1 day or 1 week that you have to be a subscriber before you can chat or leave a comment. I have it set on the lowest setting, which is 1 day. That is out of my control, and I do truly apologize. But if you hit that subscribe button today and you subscribe to my channel, then future premiere videos that I put out, you will be able to get into that chat box and chat with me. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost a thing, totally free. And please like this video. I really do appreciate everybody's continued support. If y'all were here with me yesterday on my first premiere video, we ended up reading through part of the transcript of the hearing where Vanessa, Avina, and Jake Haro were sentenced in the child cruelty case against their little girl. She was 10 weeks old at the time of the incident that nearly unalived her. And needless to say, this is a very triggering case. For those of you who do not already know the case, I will go into a little bit of detail briefly so that you can understand why everyone is so upset about what happened to this little girl and the very minimal sentence that Jake Haro received in this particular case. The doctors from Loma Linda University Medical Center found Promise, that is her name now, and she did survive her injuries, but just barely. The doctors really did not think that she would survive even a week from her injuries that she had sustained. But they found that Promise had, quote, an acute fractured rib, healing fractures of 6 ribs. You heard that right. Healing fractures of 6 ribs, a skull fracture, a brain hemorrhage, swelling of the neck, and a healing fractured leg bone. Now, this was a 10-week-old baby. So just kind of wrap your heads around that real quick. And yeah, in part 1, we ended up going over most of the transcript. We got through the sentencing of Avena, and we got up to the point of the judge asking Jake if he read all of the terms and conditions of the probation and if he understood them all. We hadn't gotten to Jake's response yet because I first wanted to pull up the document of the probation terms, being that the judge did not go through all of the terms in the transcript. So that's where we're going to start today. Let's go ahead and jump on into the court document. See y'all in chat. Since the judge was just speaking of Jake's terms of his probation, I figure we might as well take a look at the document so that we can see exactly what all the terms are, being that the judge never actually went over all of the terms in the transcript. This is the latest document that I had pulled from Riverside County. So as you can see here, this is dated 9/1/2025. The date granted June 8th, 2023. The expiration date 6/7/2027. The status is now considered revoked, and the status date
That would be the most current status date, 8/9/2024. His probation has officially been revoked for over a year. I'm curious that if you are on probation and then the probation gets revoked, once it gets revoked, does the time that you receive credit for that you've done on the probation, that immediately stops? Am I correct in that thinking? So in other words, the date that he was granted probation was on 6/8/2023. His probation was revoked on 8/9/2024. So that would have given him 1 year and 2 months that he would get credit for, even though it's actually been 2 years and 2 months since the date of granted, but he's only going to get credit for the 1 year and 2 months. At least that's my understanding anyway. Maybe we'll get an answer from that lawyer website. But moving on, the following terms and conditions are in effect. 1. Obey all laws, ordinances, and court orders. 2. Be committed to the custody of the Riverside County Sheriff for 180 days. 3. 179 days to be served in the work release program. Report on or before 7/7/2023. 4. Be committed to the custody of the Riverside County Sheriff for 1 day for booking purposes only. Report to the nearest Riverside County Jail by 6/15/2023. 5. Pay victim restitution, amount to be determined by the probation department. Any disputes as to restitution amount to be resolved in a court hearing. 6. Submit to immediate search property, including all residence, premises, storage units, containers, and vehicle under your control by probation officer or law enforcement officer with or without cause. See, so he does have to submit to a search for any property with or without cause. So they don't even need a search warrant. But here's a question. If his probation is revoked, does that still apply? Number 7. Provide a DNA sample as directed by probation or law enforcement personnel. Authorize agency to forward specimen to DOJ for analysis. Defendant to show proof of compliance to clerk of the court within 30 days. Number 8, participate and complete at your expense any counseling, rehabilitation/treatment program deemed appropriate by probation officer, and authorize the release of information relative to progress, which I don't think that he had to do any programs other than the child beater program that the judge spoke of. And then number 9, enroll in a probation approved 1 year minimum child treatment program. Provide proof of enrollment to PO within 30 days of this order release. Pay all program fees and submit proof of payment and program completion as directed by probation officer. Number 10, do not associate with any unrelated person you know to be on either probation, parole, mandatory supervision, or post-release community supervision. I wonder why that is. Why do they not want you to associate with anybody on probation or parole? Maybe because they're a bad influence and they don't want you to get in trouble again? Maybe that's the reason why. 11, do not leave the state of California without first obtaining written permission of the probation department per the Interstate Compact Act. 12, keep the probation officer informed of your place of residence. Give written notice to the probation officer 24 hours prior to a change of residence. 13, seek and maintain gainful employment or attend a full-time school or vocational program. I don't know, with all those workman's comps things that he has, I don't think he knew how to seek and maintain gainful employment, which I will be doing a video on those because I do have copies of those workman's comps claims as well. 14, do not have any direct or indirect contact with Jane Doe, CH. Her name is now Promise Faith. 15, do not knowingly own, possess, have under your control or immediate access to any firearm, deadly weapon, ammunition, or weapon-related paraphernalia. Ding, 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 ding. Or incendiary device. We have a winner. 16. Provide true name, address, and date of birth if contacted by law enforcement. Report an arrest or any contact where you provided law enforcement your name, address, or date of birth in writing to the probation officer within 48 hours, including the date of contact or the arrest and charges, if any, and the name of the law enforcement agency. Gee, I wonder if he ended up doing that when he got arrested for red rumming his 7-month-old child, Emmanuel. 17. If expelled or deported, do not re-enter the United States illegally. Isn't that kind of like a duh? 18. Any valid DV protection/restraining order existing during the period of probation is incorporated into the probation terms, which we did hear the judge talk about that. 19. Report to probation officer immediately or within 2 days of release from custody for initial instructions and follow all reasonable derivatives of probation officer. 20. If expelled, deported, or voluntarily leave the United States, you must report to the probation department by telephone or in writing within 30 days of departure. Why do they give them a full 30 days from departure to contact them if they leave the United States? That to me is just ridiculous. That's way too much time. Anyway, moving on. 21. Perform 20 hours of community service through a nonprofit organization completed by 7/22/2024. Now let's continue on to the transcript. Defendant Haro. Yes, Your Honor. The court. Did you go over them with your attorney? Defendant Haro. Yes, Your Honor. I have this feeling like that's the way that he would be, like, so just condescending. The court. Do you understand them all? Defendant Haro. I did. The court. Do you have any questions at all about your probation terms or anything else in your case? Defendant Haro. I have no questions. The court. Do you need me to read all of these terms of probation to you out loud right now? Defendant Haro. No, Your Honor. The court. Thank you. Do you accept probation on all of these terms? Defendant Haro. I do. The court. That will be the court order. As of this moment, you are on probation. I'm going to order you to report to probation as soon as possible. You're not going to be able to do it today. Tomorrow, you sign in with probation by 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday. If you haven't done it by 2:01 on Monday, you're already in violation, and you know what that means. 6 years in prison. Make sure you get signed in. Make sure you comply with all these terms. In addition, there was previously a protective order that applied to Carolina Haro, and I'm terminating that at this point. And I have a new protective order that also applies to Carolina Haro. You're ordered to have no contact whatsoever with her. You must not contact her directly or indirectly by any means, including telephone, mail, email, or other electronic means, or through a third party. Only contact through your attorney is permitted. This is a court order. You will receive a copy before you leave today. If you violate this, you're committing a whole new criminal offense, and it's a term of your probation. So if you violate this order, you'll be violating your probation. Is he the parent of the child? Mr. Teola. Yes. The court. Is there any juvenile court family CPS? What is the status of that? I mean, typically, we will permit contact pursuant to and only pursuant to a subsequent court order regarding visitation. Mr. Sarmentio. Your Honor, I have no objection to checking the box reflecting the incorporation of any future family court order. The court. That's 14B, which I did try earlier to look up this 14B, and unfortunately, I had no success on finding anything in California on 14B. Now, the only thing I could find on 14B was in Ontario, Canada. So if anybody out there knows anything about this 14B, I would appreciate it if you could help me out with that one, because that one really got me perplexed. My Google foo was just not working on 14B. I'm sorry about that, y'all. So I'd really appreciate it if any of y'all know any information on that one. Mr. Sarmentio, that's fine, Your Honor. I believe I don't have all the details, but there is another family court order. Really? That's interesting. The court, is there an order providing for custody already in existence? Mr. Sarmentio, based on my brief discussion with him, yes. He does have visitation at least once a month. What? This monster gets to visit her at least once a month after what he did to her? No. No. The court. The problem is, I don't have a case number for that. Mr. Talola, I don't have access to that either. The court. Do you have any more court appearances coming up in that case? Defendant Haro, I do not, Your Honor. The court. What are the provisions in that case? Defendant Haro, Vanessa Avina was allowed 2 days a month. I was allowed 1. I haven't seen my kids in almost 3 years. Oh, poor baby. You shouldn't be able to see them, you monster. The court, because we don't have those details, it would be in the form. I'm amending the language to say it's a, quote, no contact, end quote, order. Except you may have peaceful contact as an exception to the, quote, no contact, end quote, order. Only for court order visitation, as stated in any family, juvenile, or probate court order issued before or after the date this order is signed. Is that agreeable to both sides? Oh my effing, seriously? So he was able to see his little girl after he'd done this garbage to her? Breathe in, breathe out. Mr. Sarmentio, I would agree with that. Mr. Teola, yes, Your Honor. The court. Okay, that will be the order. Mr. Sarmentio, thank you, Your Honor. The court. If you go outside the scope of your court-permitted visitation, you're violating this order, and you know what that means. 6 years. So don't. I think that covers everything. Counsel, is there anything else I need to address? Mr. Sarmento, just very briefly, 2 things. We are requesting for Prop 63 hearing. He does currently own firearms. So he currently owned firearms at the time. Okay, so Prop 63 has to do with firearms. I guess owning firearms as a felon. So let's go look that up real quick, and I will be right back after I find out what Prop 63 is. Okay, so I'm back, y'all. Basically what I found is, while the general lifetime firearm ban for felons in California did not change in 2023, Assembly Bill 732, AB 732, amended Proposition 63's firearm relinquishment process. This bill was signed into law in 2023 and mandates a stricter court process for felons to prove they have relinquished their firearms. New Prop 63 relinquishment procedures, AB 732, for felons and other prohibited persons. AB 732 implemented the following changes to the relinquishment process in 2023. Stricter guidelines for defendants not in custody. The bill requires firearms to be relinquished within 48 hours of a conviction. Probation oversight. Probation officers must report to the court and prosecutor on whether the defendant complied with relinquishment requirements. Search warrants. If there is probable cause to believe a defendant has not surrendered their firearms, the court can now order a search warrant. See, now, if you're on probation, I thought that a probation officer did not have to have just cause in order to go in and search anything that you own. So why would they have to have a search warrant in that case? A probation officer should be able just to go directly into his home and search his home without even having probable cause. At least that was my understanding anyways. Agency coordination. The California Department of Justice, DOJ, must provide local law enforcement and district attorneys with access to the Armed Prohibited Persons System, APPS, for defendants in their jurisdiction who have not proven relinquishment. And then they got lifetime firearm ban for felons. Beyond the relinquishment procedure, the fundamental rule in California remains that a felony conviction typically results in a lifetime ban on owning, possessing, or purchasing a firearm. How a hearing might be involved. A felon would not have a Prop 63 A felon would not have a, quote, Prop 63 hearing, end quote, to regain their gun rights in California. Instead, a hearing related to Prop 63 would be initiated by a prosecutor if they believe the felon has failed to relinquish their firearms. In this scenario, a court would hold a hearing to determine if the felon is in compliance with the relinquishment mandate and could issue a search warrant if probable cause is established. Exception, governor's pardon. A full and unconditional gubernational, I think that's how you pronounce that, pardon is one of the only ways a felon can potentially restore their gun rights in California. This is a separate and lengthy legal process, not a, quote, Prop 63 hearing, end quote. Okay, so that's the only thing I found on the Prop 63 hearing. Let's go back to the transcript. He does currently own firearms. And then the court. I'm sorry, start over? Mr. Sarmentio. He does currently own firearms, so we are asking for a return date for a Prop 63 on 7/19. He will surrender or legally transfer the firearms by that date. I'm not sure if the court wants to schedule that in. The court. I think we need to put that on the calendar. Did you say July 19th? Is that a good date? Mr. Sarmentio. Yes, either I'll be here or Mr. Hughes. The court. Let's schedule it for July 19th. We'll put over the matter, and the defendant will be required to bring proof that all firearms have been disposed of, whether it's transferred or sold. Problem? Mr. Talola. Not with that. I'm just curious. I've never had one set. Does that require the appearance of the people? Or is that just verification between the defendant and probation? The court. Somebody will be here. Mr. Sarmento. It's a non-appearance type of thing. Mr. Talola. Okay. Mr. Sarmento. Last thing, Your Honor. He does live in Cabazon, so the nearest probation would be Banning. I believe he was ordered to check in here. Would the court? The court. Is that what's in the terms? Mr. Sarmentio, when I was reviewing it, I know it's to report to probation. Would the court and the people have any objection reporting to Banning for any further probation? Mr. Talola, no. The court. He has to report to probation in Riverside County within the time frame that I gave him. If he lives in Cabazon, yeah. Mr. Talola, okay. The court. Go to the closest one. I'm not seeing it specify that he has to be downtown. If it does say that here somewhere, I'm overriding that. And yes, he can report in Banning. Mr. Sarmentio, thank you. We'll just hang tight for the protective order and the paperwork. Thank you. Mr. Talola, Your Honor, I would just ask for the record to reflect that the people are objecting to this. And this is based on the severity of the injuries, as we discussed, to the victim. And our offer was, in fact, prison for this case. The court. Understood. Mr. Talola, thank you. So yes, the state did not want this. They wanted the actual prison time. The court. I acknowledged that when I said it was a plea to the court and the people aren't joining in it. I appreciate that. Under the circumstances, I think this is appropriate, and we have hung a very large hammer over the defendant's head. If he violates, he'll end up going to prison for a lot longer than if I had taken the DA's deal. I'm giving you a chance. Don't mess it up. Good luck. Mr. Sarmentio. Thank you, Your Honor. Defendant Haro. Thank you. The court. Thank you. Proceedings adjourned. And this is just a reporter's certificate verifying that I did get it from her and that this is a certified copy.
Okay, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. I realize that some of y'all may not have the need or the want to actually continue on with watching the definitions as far as the charges and the probation. So I'm going to cut this video here and at least get the other half of the transcript video out to y'all. I will do the other information in another video. And I'm not going to do a premiere on that one. That one I'm just going to go ahead and put out there. And I will put a link down in the description box for that video so that you can go ahead and link to that after you finish watching this if you choose to do so. I do need to get out of here. I will see y'all in the chat. Thank you very much for your continued support. I also really appreciate everybody's continued support for Emmanuel and Promise Faith and keeping them in your thoughts and prayers. We need to get justice for them, and that is what this is all about.
is getting justice for Emmanuel and Promise Faith, because they are what matter here. Promise Faith never actually got her true justice. As you can see from this court transcript right here, she never truly got justice that she deserved. And I think it is absolutely appalling. But either way, we also need to find justice for Emmanuel, and let's just pray that his body is found sooner rather than later. And with that being said, y'all, I do need to get going, so I will see y'all on the flip side. Stay safe, stay happy, y'all. Bye-bye.